Good afternoon, everybody. This is Tony Fapiano coming to you from the studios of Guilford Community Television, and it is my privilege tonight to have a continuing discussion, which I've had over the years, with one of the really outstanding civic organizations in the town of Guilford, the Guilford Community Fund. And the Guilford Community Fund, many of you know, raises money for the purpose of donating money back to a number of organizations in town and on the shoreline that service people that live in the town of Guilford. And as I said, it's my privilege to be here tonight, and thank you for inviting me, guys. I always enjoy doing this because your organization, in my opinion, is one of the really outstanding organizations in the town of Guilford. And I've had many of them sit exactly where you are, and I can tell you, you guys do a fantastic job. So let me start with the president, Lydia Forgetta Sheffield. Honorary chairman this year is Stephen Page, who many of you will recognize from Page Hardware and Appliance on the Green in Guilford, and Sean Kinnear, who is the vice president. And Lydia, I'm going to start with you because you are the president, and you know more than these guys, I'm sure, right?
Somewhat.
I think you do. No, I think I'm pretty confident that you know all the stuff that I need to know for these folks to open up their checkbook when they get done hearing all of this. So let's start first of all with the fact that you're now in your annual appeal. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and how does the public actually know that you're starting this annual appeal?
Well, we had a beautiful sign across the road, and that was hanging there to let people know we were on it, right there on the post road.
Across the road, meaning?
The post road down by Ashley's Ice Cream. And now you'll be receiving in your mail this lovely brochure. Should be coming to your door any day now if it hasn't already arrived. This is hot off the press, and it's inviting people to join us in our annual appeal. It has a new little bit in it, in that we took suggestions from people on how to make it easier. And so we did put organizations like the Guilford Interfaith Ministries together so that they know all these are under. We used to put it in alphabetical order, but now we put it so that the Guilford Interfaith Ministries are all underneath each other. So you know those go together. Branford Healthcare.
Now, what do you mean they all go to? What
Well,
that they like
you've got Charlie's Closet, you've got the food bank, you've got Meals on Wheels. So we have those all under Guilford Interfaith Ministries.
Okay.
We also have a new group with us who they'll be meeting tonight, the Guilford Mentors, which is a new organization that is joining us now, and that is going to be added to being one of our members of the Guilford Community
Let me jump over
Fund.
to Sean then, since you're talking about new members. Sean, how does an organization become one of your beneficiaries? What is the process that you go through to vet them to make sure that they fit whatever your criteria are?
For the most part, we rely on them to kind of come to us. But if an agency comes to us and wants to be included in our group of agencies, we have a pretty simple process. They do fill out an application. We do have our bylaws that we have to go by, so there's a few restrictions on what they can
What
or
are the
can't
criteria?
do. Criteria is 501c3 charitable organization, a nonprofit organization. It cannot be formed for the purpose of strictly political reasons, strictly art-related reasons, or recreational things, recreational reasons or educational purposes. Cannot discriminate. Must have full disclosure of its finances to us, as in accordance with other charitable organizations. And then we, as a group, discuss it in one of our meetings, and we'll get back to them with yes, we can accept you and welcome you to our.
Okay, when you talk about one of your meetings, who are at these meetings?
We've got a board of, at the moment, 16, 17 Guilford Community Fund board members. We meet once a month, first Wednesday of every month, and we conduct our business then.
Yeah, I think it's important for the folks at home to realize how carefully you scrutinize the people that you actually give the money to. Because if I'm going to write a check to the Guilford Community Fund, I want to make sure that it's going to go to an organization that's really deserving. So it's important to hear what you've just said, that you do have the criteria and you have a board that actually looks at it very closely.
Absolutely. We spend usually 1 or 2 of the meetings on it. We do look very closely at what they do for Guilford.
Yeah. Do you look at the incoming honorary chairperson as closely as you look at these? Do you scrutinize that person as closely as you do the beneficiaries of the money that you donate?
Now that's
because
a
this year
loaded-
we're talking about Stephen Page. First of all, why did you even think of Stephen Page? Now Stephen and I are buddies, so I'm going to kid him a little bit. What way did Stephen qualify for?
6, I can take it. Trust
Well,
me.
I'll have to say Stephen is one of the best fourth choices we've ever made.
No, Stephen was a top choice this year. Stephen is well known to the community. He's someone that we know just by being in the Guilford Parade. He's someone that we know what he can do for the community. So therefore, when we're looking for an honorary chair, we look for someone that we know the Guilford community will recognize immediately.
Sure.
And we look for someone who has the quality and the character.
Well,
of
he's
Stephen.
representative of the quality of what you guys actually
Right.
do. And you've been doing this for a long time. Probably Stephen knows better than anybody because he's been in town his whole life. Yeah. But Stephen, let's talk about, you were contacted to be honorary
I
chair.
got the
What was your
call-
initial reaction?
Well, I got the call from Fran Sweetlicky, who was an art teacher of mine in the high school. So we go way back, and I was quite humbled and quite honored to be asked.
Why?
Because I think it's just a tremendous organization. Number one, the directors no one gets paid from this organization. No one's, at least as far as I know, if I'm standing
You're correct.
corrected if I'm wrong. No one's getting a paycheck out of this, so when I give or someone gives money to the Guilford Community Fund, it goes to the organizations that are members of it. There's no overhead. A lot of times you read about organizations that have an administrator or a president or a vice president, and you give them $1 and 60 cents of your dollar is going to pay
Administrative costs.
Administrative costs. So.
Yeah.
And also it's a smorgasbord of organizations in Guilford that just do such a great thing. You mentioned the Interfaith, Charlie's Closet, and Meals on Wheels, I think, are part of that also. They're just tremendously giving groups in Guilford. And if you make your donation, you can pick who you want this money to go to as well. So to me, it's a win-win. You know, it's you want to give money, you don't particularly care for one organization or another, then you can select who you want.
I kid you, but you were an excellent choice to be the honorary chair this year. I happen to know that Stevens also was very involved with the Guilford Foundation. He was recently a recipient of the Paul Harris Award from the Guilford Rotary Club for all of the organizations that he's been involved in. There's a whole myriad of groups that he's volunteered with over the years, and and rightfully so. I grew up in the town. You have a business in the town, visible in town, so it's good that you give back to the town, and you're a good example of that.
Well, my brothers and my mother and my family that came before me kind of gave me that guiding light that if you're going to live here, you gotta pitch in, dig in, and help out when you can and where you can.
Yeah, and you guys are all examples of that. Yeah. Just build on what he said, though. If somebody wants to designate their donation to a specific group or groups within your 20-some-odd organizations that you benefit, is there a way of doing that?
Yes, on the back of the flyer, when you get it, you can check that that check is going directly to that organization or that group. So when you're filling out your form, you would put it right on here. And then that's how your money goes.
Okay, and you have somebody that administers all of that. And if somebody just wants to give a donation to the group, what do you do with that?
Then we divide it up. That's a very interesting meeting in May when it comes to whatever we raised. Whatever is designated automatically goes to that group. So we look at a big chart. We see what what is designated for what group. So that's there. Then we look at, how much came in, and then we really talk and discuss and try to be as fair as we can. Try to figure out a ratio of how we can be fair to every single group.
So what do you have now, 21, 22 agencies?
22. I just counted them, yeah.
Now, you have to raise a lot of money to give any kind of significant amount of money to 22 agencies, dividing it by 22. So what's your goal this year?
140 at least.
140.
140,000.
And some of us will be able to you'll be able to monitor it every morning because there's a big sign out on the corner of the south end of the green there, right across from Page Hardware.
Right.
which
And you will, Tony, also. You
yeah,
walk
we'll
by it
see you
every
there every morning.
right.
But who does that? Who puts the sign up and who changes the amount as the monies come in?
Yeah, they're just the members. We all, 3 or 4 of us, get together one night after work, and we run out there and we pound the irons down into the green and put the sign up. And then as the months go by and our appeal, as the funds grow in the appeal, we'll go and run out some red tape to hopefully get it up to the top.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's a good example, too, of what Stephen alluded to, and the fact that when money is donated, there's no administrative. You guys do it all. You do the labor, you do all the legwork there. So that's an example of that. But I know you have some costs because you referred to that mailer that's going to go out. That costs money. Somebody had to print that. That costs money. How do you actually try to cover those expenses?
What we try to do, Tony, is we do, aside from the annual appeal, which is a mailer to everybody in town, we do have 3 other fundraisers that we do through the year. One is our Valentine's Dance down at the Knights of Columbus Hall. One is our golf tournament in the late fall or early fall. We have a golf tournament where we try to raise funds. And then we have a third additional fundraiser that we're doing this year, which I'll talk about in a minute. But
Go ahead.
We take the funds from those 3 fundraisers and use that to cover our expenses, take care of the mailings and the insurance, et cetera, things like that. But then hopefully that's reserving all the money we raise from the appeal to give back to our agencies.
Yeah. And I don't know of any organization that can actually make that claim. I mean, everybody has some expense.
We're very proud of that. We really rely on those 3 fundraisers to take care of all the expenses for us.
Yeah.
So those
140 grand is a lot of money today.
Yeah.
You're talking about the economy that we're in right now, and you're also talking about the fact that you, as a fundraising group, are competing with other valid, good fundraising groups. So there's a lot of people out there that are trying to get money, and you sort of have to be in competition, so to speak, with those also very worthy organizations. So you guys have a big job ahead of you.
It's been around for a long time, though.
And it's
I
been
don't know
around
how long that sign's been around, but it's
as long
been
as I
around.
can
The
remember.
Guilford Community Fund has
Yeah.
been around for a long, long time.
Yeah, I think you guys started, as I recall, in one of our conversations in what, the early 50s, I think?
Yes.
Sound about right?
53.
They went and they knocked
53,
on the
I think.
doors.
Yeah.
And they actually went door to door, as the story goes. They went door to door and actually asked people door to door to give.
Yeah.
So
That's
that's
back when Guilford
amazing.
had only 2 stoplights and not the 23 that we talked
Today
about.
you'd be arrested
Right.
if you did that.
Yep.
Maybe not. Maybe not you guys.
Yeah.
If somebody's just tuning in right now, what I'm talking about, who I'm talking to, are representatives from the Guilford Community Fund that we're talking about how important it is that they have a very successful year this year in collecting money to give back to organizations that service Guilford people. And we're actually going to meet some representatives, I think. I'm not sure exactly what
Yeah.
organization at this point. I think Guilford Mentoring, you mentioned, is going to be here, and Orchard House, which is another. We'll find out what those groups do and how they use the money and why it's important that you guys are successful. So we're going to talk to them in a little while. But Stephen, I want to get back to you because you've been around, again, a long time. You grew up in this town. I don't know
You say
that
a
any
long
of us...
time like I'm really, it's
You've
really
lived
a
here
long
forever.
time. Right.
Yeah, you
I
lived here a
have
long
lived here
time.
all my life.
And now, do you remember as a kid when people were knocking on your door for a
When
donation?
they were first knocking on doors, that was when I first started out in life. So I don't remember the 1950 beginning of it. But I do remember I was actually on board with Dick Beattie a long time ago.
Okay.
As vice
Talk
president.
about the fundraiser where you have a restaurant that's helping you out this year.
The good folks over at Casey's Restaurant and Pub right here in Guilford has partnered up with us on a fundraiser. It is Thursday, December 3rd is the date. If you're out doing some holiday shopping or if you're out for Thursday night football, just stop into Casey's Pub. Mention to your server that you're there for a Guilford Community Fund event, and Casey's Pub is going to give back to us 20% of your bill for that day. In conjunction with Casey's Pub, also the Hickory Kitchen. They have, if you can't stay there for dinner, grab something from the Hickory Kitchen, take it out. Same thing applies. Tell them that you're with us, and you get we get 20% back off your bill. So thank you very much to Casey's Pub for doing that with us.
Okay, and before we went on the air, Stephen mentioned that if you guys wanted, you're holding a card in your hand, which can be given to the server?
That's correct. If you grab one of these, you can grab one of these tickets from Page Hardware. We'll have them. If you grab one from any Guilford Community Fund member in town, take this ticket in with you. Same thing. Give it to your server.
So if somebody stops in at Page Hardware at the cashier, is that where you leave it?
Talk to Ray.
Yeah, talk to Ray.
Talk to
Okay,
Ray.
he'll know what it's all about.
He will.
All right, what else do you guys want to talk about that we have not covered?
No, just thank you to everybody that has helped us throughout the year. Both of our other fundraisers have been successful, and we're just looking forward to seeing Guilford respond to our appeal this year.
All right, I'm going to take a break. You guys are going to get up. I think you might stay here. We're going to keep you here because you're the president. This is what presidents do.
They do.
We're going to keep you here, and we're going to actually invite some folks that represent at least two organizations that are beneficiaries of the funds that you raise. We'll find out what they do and why it's important that people that are frothing at the mouth at home right now, after hearing this stuff, with their checkbook is already out. Let's talk about two other things, first of all. If they do have a check in their hand or they want to make a donation online, how do they do that?
If you want to do it online, go to www.guilfordcommunityfund.org, and you can pay using PayPal, or there's a procedure on there to pay by credit card and using PayPal. If you're going to write a check, if you have the appeal, there's an envelope provided, or otherwise find one of us. We're all over town. Or also you could just go ahead and mail it to Guilford Community Fund, P.O. Box 271, Guilford.
Okay, that's terrific. Anything else?
Excellent. We also want to just thank Ron Rosa and the Guilford Marketplace for a very successful golf tournament
Oh,
this
talk
year.
about that. You just finished your golf tournament.
Right.
Yeah, and
We
that's
can
again.
talk about it in this after we come back from the break. How's
Okay,
that?
we can do that. All right, with that, we'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll have some other folks here to talk about the good stuff that you guys are doing. Okay, folks, we are back. In the first segment, which you guys were not a part of, we interviewed the president, vice president of the Guilford Community Fund, and the honorary chairman this year, Stephen Page. And we talked about how important it is for the Guilford Community Fund to raise money, and the fact that they raise money to give back to various organizations. And you folks that are sitting on the set now actually represent two of those organizations, and we're going to talk in detail about what you actually do. So I'm going to start with you, Stephanie, and don't get mad at me if I don't pronounce your name correctly, but you are Stephanie Evans-Aniker?
Erica.
Eriker.
Close enough.
And Lisa Ott is from Guilford Mentors.
Yes.
And Doug Danaher is also a mentor and part of the mentoring program in the town of Guilford. And President, who you met in the first part of this program, Lydia Forgetta Sheffield.
Right.
Lydia, you've been president for a long time.
I think this is my third year.
Third year, yeah.
Yes.
That's a lot of pressure, because it's very important. Again, we talked in the first segment that it's important that these folks raise about $140,000 a year so they can give some kind of substantial donation to each of the organizations that are part of the beneficiary group. And there's 22 of them this year. So you divide 140,000 by 22, and you can see it takes a lot of money to do what they do and actually have any impact for you. So let's talk about Orchard House.
Yes.
Now, I don't know anything about Orchard House, so that's a good thing. So I'm going to ask you a lot of questions.
Okay.
So first of all, Stephanie, what do you do and who do you do it to? Who do you service?
Sure. So Orchard House is a medical day program. We provide services to aging adults in the community, and that can be anyone from 21 years old up to 101 years old. And what we do is we provide medical oversight as well as social and cultural enrichment.
Okay, now the services that you provide to a 21-year-old, I'm assuming, is different than a 101-year-old.
Correct.
You've given that range.
Yeah.
Give me an example or an idea of some of the services that you help to provide to different people.
So our services can be, well, first I'll talk about the group that we serve. So we do serve a broad demographic. Traditionally, day programs were meant to serve what you would call seniors or older adults who typically were frail, had some cognitive impairment. We really kind of broaden that service to meet the needs of people with developmental disabilities as well as mental health disorders. So we're servicing a 21-year-old that may have a developmental disorder or a mental health issue.
Give me an example of a developmental. Are you talking about autism? Are you talking
Someone
about
that's born, yes, with
Yeah.
some kind of developmental delay. It can be very mild, but they still live independently and still function independently, but they come to our program for some
But
social
that age
enrichment.
21, I think, is a critical age, too, because I know that there's a lot of money available for people with developmental issues that goes away when they turn 21.
Right, there's a
So-
lot of resources out there for people, but there's a lot of people that fall through the lines, that both for people with developmental issues as well as older adults.
Yeah, and how many people do you service on an annual basis?
We have a total of 100 people, about 104 people in our program
100?
currently.
Yeah. And how many at one on a given day?
We have the capacity for 50. We run really
Really?
close to that every day. Yes.
Oh, wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah,
Now, how do they get to and from? Do you provide transportation as well?
we do. Yeah, we have 5 buses. We'll be getting a 6th bus probably around summer of 2016. And our buses are out on the roads in the community, bringing people to the center in the morning and then taking people home in the afternoon.
Okay. It was mentioned in our first part of the program that in order to be a beneficiary of the Guilford Community Fund, you have to be a 501c3.
Correct.
Are you?
Yes, we are
Okay.
a 501c3.
And you have to service people that live in the town of Guilford, do you?
Yes, sir. We do.
Okay, did you
Yeah.
hear that?
Yeah.
That's important for everybody to know.
Yes.
Because I know there's people out there with their checkbook right now, getting ready to send it to Post Office Box, what? 271, I think it is.
271.
271, Guilford, Connecticut, right?
Yeah.
To make the check out to Guilford Community Fund.
Right.
So that's critical. The thing that's amazing about this is the number of people that you're actually working with. What are the qualifications of the staff? It sounds like you have to have a pretty high level of technical knowledge or background in order to work with some of a range of issues that you deal with.
Right. So
Talk about your staff.
Yeah. So we are a medical center. So we do employ 4 nurses. We employ certified nursing assistants that help our members with personal care needs, and then our drivers have to be very advanced and certified in driving, because obviously driving in client safety while they're on the buses is of utmost priority. And then we screen and, of course, vet all of our volunteers and people that come in and interact very closely with the members in the program.
Now, you
Yeah.
realize the Guilford Community Fund is not going to pick up the tab for your whole annual budget.
No, but the Guilford
You know
Community Fund has been very, very generous to us in years past. And actually, by supporting our program, the Guilford Community Fund is setting up and making sure that aging adults in the community of Guilford are not falling through the cracks, and they're able to access the care that they really need.
As our director, Donald Beckler, gets older, he's glad to hear that.
Yeah, we've got a spot for him. Yeah. Come on.
You too, Hartman.
Come on. We have a spot for everybody. Yeah.
You got
yeah.
a place for all of us.
We
right?
do.
We
we
got
do.
20. We got actually. He's not 21
We
yet. We
do.
got a young guy here, but all the way we got somebody that's almost 101.
We do.
Anyway, all right. Let me move on to the mentors.
Sure.
I'm going to come back to you with more information
Sure,
too
great.
for
Thank
the
you.
community. So, Lisa,
Yes.
you are what with the mentors? What do you do there?
I run the program. I'm just stepping into that role this year. I've been the assistant, and our founder, Barbara Solomon, is headed off to be a new grandmother, so I'm very excited.
Actually, she's been on a program here with me a
Yes.
few years ago.
Yeah, she's
You
wonderful.
guys do a fantastic job. What exactly is your mission statement? What are you trying to do when you put a student together with a mentor? What is it you're trying to achieve? What's the goal?
Absolutely. We are giving kids an opportunity to get some attention from a caring adult who might provide some personal advocacy, might just be a great friend, but all of the research shows that having a caring adult in a kid's life, particularly one who doesn't have to be there, really creates magic. And
Okay, but
helps
are
the
you,
kids in
are
all
you
kinds of
dealing
ways.
with children that don't have a caring adult? Or this is an additional
an
caring adult?
additional caring adult
Okay,
in their
so
lives.
some of these kids have regular families and brothers and sisters and fathers and
Absolutely.
mothers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The kids in our program are in that middle group that could easily get lost in the cracks. Probably not running us over on the way over to Harvard, but also not the kids who are in situations where they have so many different interventions in their lives that there really isn't room for mentoring. But just wonderful kids who really would benefit from some extra attention.
Okay, now are you associated with the Board of Education in Guilford?
Yes.
Are you a function of the Board of Education?
Our
Or are
program,
you a separate entity?
it's an interesting situation. The Board of Ed provides for the staff. I'm paid by the Board of Ed and gives us an office. But we also have a 501c3, the mentoring board, that takes care of all of the expenses that go along with running the program, as far as really giving the kids what they need.
Okay. Now, when you say kids, what age groups are you servicing?
We operate in all of the 7 schools. We're based out of the high school, but our mentees are K through 12.
K through 12.
Yep,
Wow.
we've even matched second semester seniors who could use a little help figuring out where they're going to be as they go out the door to
Okay,
to
and what
college.
makes a kid qualify to be mentored? What is it that he has to demonstrate to be a part of the program,
We're
or she?
referred kids for all kinds of reasons, usually by the school social workers, teachers, parents, the kids themselves will ask for mentors, and we always take that very seriously. And so we're always recruiting. We're always looking for more mentors.
Yeah, how many
and
kids are in the program?
It's always changing. We actually made a match today, but right in the neighborhood of 165 at any given time.
165 kids,
Yeah.
right now, as we
Yep.
speak.
Yep.
So you have to have 165 mentors?
We
Or
do
you have some mentors that do more than one kid?
We do have a few mentors who are with more than one kid at a time.
I wasn't real
so-
great at math, you know? Go ahead.
But we've got just a great, great group of people.
Okay, and, all right, you got a mentor sitting next to you there.
Yes.
Doug
Yeah.
Danahy? Okay, Doug, what do you know about Doug that qualifies him to be a mentor? If I have my 6-year-old grandchild in the program, and you hook him up with Doug, as a grandparent, I want to be sure that you're putting him with somebody who is going to do the job and do it right. And, you know, in this world that we live in today, you have to be very, very careful
Absolutely.
with, you know, when you put an adult together with a kid,
Yes.
right? Okay. So that was a terrible thing about bringing up, but I think it's important for folks to realize that Doug is a good guy. And how do you know he's a good guy?
We go through a very extensive application process. There's a written application, and all of our mentors, even those who work in the school system, police officers, people who work for the town, have to go through this. We run an FBI DMV background check.
Oh, you do?
Yep.
Ooh, did you know that?
Yeah. I had to go through it.
Yep. And we sit down with the mentors for about an hour to talk with them about their experience, their background, really get a good idea of who would be a good match, because
Very
that's the
interesting.
key.
And
Doug,
there's
what do you do in real
references.
life?
Right.
I'm an insurance agent. I own the Stone Agency.
Stone
here
Agency,
in Guilford.
okay.
Yeah.
So you're a local person.
Yes.
You're in business in town.
Yeah.
And Stone Agency's been around for a long time.
Yes.
Have you been around a long time with them?
I've been here for 18 years.
Yeah. Now, you obviously have things to do every day related to your job and your family and everything else. What made you interested in being a mentor? Because you know there's a time commitment.
Yeah.
And an FBI check.
Yeah.
Background check on you.
And references.
What got you involved?
Actually, my partner's wife is a social worker in Guilford. She's at Cox School, Jill Oman, and Jill thought it would be good for us to do. So my partner Rob and I started mentoring, and now we're to the point where there's 5 people in our office that mentor on a weekly basis. Yeah,
We
we.
got the whole gang involved.
It's you know what, the best gift we can give is time, and for somebody to leave for an hour to go spend time with a kid it's pretty nice. It's
Where do you
good work.
spend time with the kid? Where do you actually meet the child?
Personally, I go to lakes.
So you meet in the school?
Yeah, and when I'm there, we'll do things like sometimes it's just playing a board game. We'll play Monopoly, but recently we've been outside. The weather's been so nice, so we go outside and throw the football around. And
Now, without getting into who your child is, do you have one
yes,
that you mentor?
yes,
Without getting into detail of
Sure.
who it is, tell us a little something about him.
sure. 4th grade boy, loves sports, loves the Jets, loves talking about football, ESPN. My background, I coached a lot of sports in town, so the match was very natural because of our common interest in sports.
Yeah. What void do you feel you're filling that he wouldn't ordinarily have if you weren't there?
You know, it's so hard to put your thumb right on what you're doing, but I would say confidence and a sounding board, and just saying like, geez, you're thinking the right way. I think that's really positive. Or if the child makes a decision and you support that decision, it's just like a sounding board that they're not going to question everything that they do.
Yeah.
So
Are
I
you a
think we
support
instill-
system for his teacher? Or teachers?
Not really. I mean, there's very little interaction with the teacher except I'm here and I'm going to be here for an
Gonna be
hour.
with your kid, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of people have this perception that you're going to be doing homework
Like
with
you're a
the
tutor, or you know,
Never.
kid has a problem in math, you're going to help him out.
No, but you know,
Are you recruiting him to be an insurance person? someday?
there you go. Yeah, that's already done. But no, and sometimes you might step in and say, you know, I spoke to him today. He's having a really hard time in math. Is there anything, you know, that we should be aware of? And you know, so, but that rarely happens. Most of it's pretty good natured and really doesn't get into the schoolwork.
Okay. Lydia, this is a new
A new
beneficiary of
organization.
the fund.
And I think what would be interesting for our viewers to know is, of course, we wouldn't be giving you your salary. How is the Guilford Community Fund going to help you? In what ways are you looking for funding from us? What are we going to do for you? Because definitely it doesn't go for anyone's salary or anything like that. So if you could share with our viewers what you would be asking in a grant from us.
Sure, I'd be happy to do that. The most important thing that we do for the kids is provide them with opportunities to spend time with the mentors. And of course, that takes a tremendous amount of time with the whole process that we go through to find the mentors and to get those matches made. And so it's been tremendously important to us to be able to streamline that process as much as we can. In the past, we've had about 25 matches that we make. Last year was 60, and we're off to that same kind of a start this year. So to have our technology as pulled together as possible so that we can make that happen and make sure that nobody gets lost in the cracks is very, very important. And then also, each of the schools has a small cupboard or a box with modest supplies, knit games, balls that they can play with, that kind of thing. And so we want to make sure that that's stocked so that they can have a good time. Our mentors are really generous about bringing in their own things, but we like to try and stay on top of it as much
Now, this
as
is
we
your
can,
first
too.
year as a beneficiary of the Guilford Community Fund.
Yes.
Where were you funded before you had them?
We
And they, by the way, they aren't going to meet your budget.
absolutely. We have
150 kids or whatever it is now.
We have a wonderful history of jewelry parties and car washes and
Oh, you do all that?
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And fundraising. Our mentors really are wonderfully generous.
Do the mentors follow the kid from year to year? You have the same kid?
Yes.
This example, your situation, how many years?
In this is my second mentor, but so we've been together for 2 years. Prior to that, I was with a boy for 7 years, and so yeah, and you know, you kind of get excited because we'll go from Lakes, we'll go to Baldwin next year, so you'll see everybody at Baldwin again.
Have you had the experience where mentors have discovered some sort of a need beyond what they can provide and maybe beyond what the school is providing, where you might need a service from, well, you don't have kids that are under 21, but you know what I'm saying? Have you had mentors that have identified problems in children that maybe were previously not known,
Yes.
and then make that aware?
Most of the time, the mentors will bring us a question about something that the social workers are already aware about. But in this kind of an economy, more recently, we've had mentors who find out that their kids are losing their houses. And actually, in one case, a mentor was able to find out that her mentee's father had died, and he wasn't a custodial parent, so the school wasn't aware. So here and there are
Sure.
issues where we can help.
Plus, in the economic environment that we're in, you know, that always breeds other issues within the family.
Exactly.
As you probably
Yeah.
know, with domestic violence and everything else that goes with it.
Yeah, and actually, if I can just kind of pick up on what you were just saying,
Absolutely.
we actually, in our program, we have several schools that come in, and we have a 4th grade class that comes in monthly to visit with our members in our program, and it's a wonderful, it's almost like an adopt a grandparent or adopt a mentor type of mentality, so I can really easily see a relationship between the mentor program and Orchard House, where we kind of are like one of those day trips where the kids would come in and spend the day, and you have 50 mentors in a room essentially. So,
Well,
it's
we're
not
limited on time tonight,
Yeah.
so I just want to mention to the folks watching at home that it's critical that the Guilford Community Fund raise as much money as they possibly can so that they can help you guys out in all the good work that you do. Because I sense, and I'm sure people watching at home sense the commitment that you've made to what you do and the people that you serve, and it takes money.
Yeah.
It takes money, and they've been on a long time providing money to groups like yours, and very, very important. And Lydia, frothing at the mouth with the checkbook out, where do they send it?
They're going to send it to the Guilford Community Fund, 271, P.O. Box 271, Guilford, Connecticut. Or you can go online. We do have a web page. You can do PayPal, www.guilfordcommunityfund.org. And you can find one of us walking down the street anytime or standing by the house, hoping that the red mark is going to go up.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. And you
Yes,
have a banner right
anywhere.
now across Route 1?
I believe
Is it
the
up?
banner is down now. It's down. It was up.
It was up,
Couple
okay.
weeks
And
ago.
the mailer you have in your hand?
The mailer I have in my hand, they tell me, mailing is so unique today. So they tell me this should be in your mailbox.
Okay, so we
It's
are
supposed
taping
to
this
be there
program on
today,
Thursday,
So it
November
should be
18th?
in your mailbox. That's what
Yeah.
they tell
A
me.
couple of days or so, they should see
Right.
that. And within that, there's also a letter from Stephen Page.
There's a wonderful letter from Stephen Page right in
Okay,
there.
Stephen Page is the honorary chairperson this
Right.
year. Great choice again. for
Right,
that.
a wonderful choice. And we do again thank all the members of the Guilford community for all that they do.
All right, so we want to thank your crew.
Our camera
You're the
crew.
only, I do this a lot. You're the only one, you're the only organization that brings their own crew. That's fantastic. With the exception of Donald Becker, you lined up everybody else. We got Bob Hartman Jr. on one camera, Carolyn Smith on a camera, Svetlana Golitz on another camera. Mike Gansey is the producer of this program, and in the back he's there with Donald Beckler, who's directing this. And we have our my own personal really good friend Lucas Espinoza, who has done camera out here, and now he's learning what goes on back there as well. So he's the heir apparent, by the way. He's going to be sitting here in a few years, and I'm out of here. All right. So with that, I just want to remind everybody that it's really, really important that hopefully you've paid attention to what here and to what has been said here, and you can sense the commitment that I sense, at least sitting next to you, about how important it is that the community fund raise the money necessary to fund you and the other 20 organizations that they have as beneficiaries as well. So with that, this is Tony Fapiano. I want to thank everybody for watching, and give often, and you know how to do that now. Also, you can stop in at Page Hardware, and there's a little stack of little
Those
cards.
for
And that
Chip's
card will
Pub.
get you 20% off at Casey's Pub on December 3rd.
20% to us.
There we go. You're not going to get it
Yeah.
off. You're going to pay your
They're
regular
going
bill,
to-
but Casey is going to
20% gonna
donate
come
20% to
the
the
Guilford
fund.
Community Fund, right.
All right, and if you pick up that card, that's an easy way to give it to the server, and that's another way that you guys are raising money. Valentine's Day dance,
The
you guys might want to
Valentine's
consider
Day is
going to that.
still
If you
on.
haven't done that before, that's a lot of fun. And the golf tournament that you
And
do
we've
every
had
fall.
that, and
All
that was
right,
a very
let's end it
successful
there.
day.
Again,
Thank
Tony
you.
Fapiano, thank you for watching.